Hi everybody, Father Bill Holtzinger here, and this is your Friday Reflection. Well, I'm recording this 2 weeks ago. When you're seeing this, I'm at Mount Angel Abbey. You can see the Abbey there behind me. And I'm right in front of the Damien Center, which is where the gym is and a couple classrooms are. I have great memories of being here as a student for 7 years. So I'm thinking about this because I'm on my retreat and I'm preparing, also thinking about the homily coming up for this weekend, well in advance. And I'm reminded where we hear in Ezekiel that God is going to take from the top of cedars, and it's funny, as I'm walking, there's cedars, these large cedars. These were here planted almost 100 years ago, maybe even longer. Father Bernard, of great memory, one of the monks of Mount Angel here, planted those when he arrived, and they have grown up to immense heights, as you can see. So this is a great image for us to ponder on, because there's another image in the gospel around plants, and I'll get to that in a second. But this image that God is going to take from the top of the tree and replant that and place it high so that which is small becomes large. That tree that was high will become low, and a low tree will become high. In other words, he's going to humble the proud and lift up those who are humble. This is something that we need to think about. I know I do. In each of our lives, we have great talents and abilities. But the question is, what do we do with those talents and abilities, and how do we behave around those? Do we flash them? Do we make sure people know about our abilities? Are we prideful? Because those are the moments when God wants to lower us. And I know for myself, the path to humility has been through humiliation. You might remember several weeks ago, possibly, you were at the 11:15 Mass, and I was distracted. It was the last Mass of the day, and after the first reading, I got up out of my presider's chair, thinking it was the time for the Gospel, and I even told the servers to go get their candles, and they went to get them, and I realized, oh, the cantor's going to sing a psalm. I'm like, oh my gosh, I goofed up. So I went over to the servers. I literally just apologized to them. Sorry, guys, just go on back, and I'll cue you in when we're going to do this correctly, and I just had to eat crow, you might say. I was embarrassed, humiliated. See, my role is to get humiliated in front of hundreds of people at a time. And I do that frequently, whether I goof up on the prayer or forget the wrong one or whatever it might be. You've seen it. And I'm so glad that you're kind and gentle about that, because those are hard things for people. Every one of us has some pride somewhere. No one's without it. We all struggle with it. It's the mother of all the sins. Remember, Adam and Eve, we heard from the previous week, Adam and Eve wanted to be like God. And because they tried to be like God, they were humbled. They sinned against God. They said, basically, I can do this. And ultimately, if I've learned anything from my own mother, and I hope that you've learned as well from the Surrender Novena, that we need to surrender everything that we are, that we should not be prideful, that we should be willing to give over ourselves to whatever God's asking of us. And that's the key as well, that often, and a lot of our students are now graduated and moved on or going to another school or just going to the next grade. The question that's before them, and maybe if you're a young adult, you're in college, is this: what do I want to do for my life? What career do I want to have? And that's not a terrible question. We do need to ask that question based on our own abilities. But we need to be humble about that, because who's to say that we have that figured out when God may have a plan that's different? In fact, God is preparing a plan for each one of us. And that plan is connected to our gifts and our abilities. But it wouldn't be something so that we can, puff up ourselves, make ourselves taller than other people and greater than other people, because we're called to ultimately serve. We're called to give ourselves away in a way that God wants us to. And I can tell you this, that if you start asking the question, what does God want for me to do, instead of what I want to do, you will find great joy and amazing grace. All the monks here at Mount Angel have had to come to that realization that they're not in charge, that they have had to surrender themselves in a radical way because of the calling they've received. I'm not asking that you should all be monks, but we should all have that monk in us. Like the universal monkness of all Christians. That is, people who are contemplative in thinking and in praying and listening. And I'm an extrovert. That's hard for us extroverts. But even then, for me, one of my favorite retreats, well, I love the priest retreat, which is what I'm on now. My favorite retreat has been when I've been at the Trappist on a silent retreat by myself, so I can just be quiet and listen. I am very grateful for learning that here at Mount Angel with the monks of Mount Angel, the Benedictines. I have a kind of inner Benedictine spirit in myself, and that's a great grace for me, and I'm so delighted to be able to be here for a retreat. As we get to now summer, shifting gears here, I hope that you can do something that'll help you be on a retreat. I know we're all going on vacations possibly and doing things like that, but don't be on a vacation from your faith. Allow your faith to go with you. That means finding a church. If you're going to be gone on a weekend, make sure you know where that is before you leave. Make a plan. Do something of that nature. And if that's not possible, spend some time. Talk to your pastor. See what can be done. But spend some time then, at least an hour on a Sunday, praying the scriptures, reflecting on them, maybe also praying a rosary, praying for your parish. Make sure you talk to your pastor, though, about that, because a dispensation can be given if it's impossible to get to a Mass. But, of course, if you were to come to me, I want to ask the question, so what's the deal that, we want to find you a place that you can go to church. But it's even beyond going to church. The challenge I have for me and for you as well today is as we go on retreats, or I should say vacations, think of it as also a treat. That's why we're leaving somewhere, to get out of our normal spaces. And yes, there's fun there, but it's also take the Lord with you. You really want to have fun and enjoy and peace by going on our vacation? Well, turn it into a semi-retreat. That is, take Jesus with you, take the Lord with you, and take that with your family, and make sure you pray. And thank God for the amazing things that you get to see or get to experience, because all good things come from God. I hope to see you this weekend. I'll be preaching. Please pray for me. Oh, and before I do that, I didn't mention there's another plant. It's a mustard seed that they talk about in the gospel. Jesus mentions that, and I suppose I hate mustard. And if I didn't read it in the gospel, I might think it's not a natural occurring substance, but it is. And so that's one of those things I have to kind of deal with. So, but of course, the image there is it's a plant that is small and can grow big. See, that's the thing. We're called to be small in our own estimation so that God can do something big with us. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be launching this space shuttle or jumping on the next SpaceX rocket or something like that. Wait for them to figure that out anyway before you do that. But to be people listening to God's heart so we too can do what he's calling us to do, whether on vacation or in our life work, at your work, whatever that might be. Think about that. Again, I'm Father Bill Holtzinger. I'll see you this coming weekend. Please pray for me as I prepare for my homily. And God bless you all. Bye-bye. Okay, this is like B-roll, I guess they call it, or an outtake. Behind me at Mount Angel, there used to be bells right here. And then you have this amazing view, and you can see Mount Hood right here. And in fact, there's many mountains here. You can see them. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around in a second so you can see these. But it's basically Mount Hood, Mount Adams, Mount Rainier, and Mount St. Helens. And in a really amazing good day, I'll call it a 5-mountain day, you can see Mount Baker. And it's just a dark little bump on the landscape. And that mountain is on the border. And it's Mount Baker's on the border of Canada and Washington. So I'm going to go ahead and swap the camera here, and you can take a look at this.